Hey guys, so today I wanted to talk about magazine changes, and there's basically two different types of magazine changes that you would want to run. The first one is from slide lock. The second one is when your slide's forward, and there's a pro and con of running both of them. One of the biggest cons is when your slide is locked to the rear like this, you're out of ammo. When your slide's forward, if you had to still engage, you'd be able to, because assuming that there's still ammo in the gun and that's why your slide's forwards, you're not having a magazine issue or something like that, then you'd still be able to return fire or something if you were in the middle of this and you're just doing what we would call a tactical reload, like this, versus an emergency reload like this. So we're going to start with slide lock. Now for your slide lock reload, you just shot all of your ammo and that's why your gun's locked to the rear. For this one here, so what I'm carrying on my side over here is actually spare magazines. So what I would do is bring my gun, so I just fired, bang, my gun locks to the rear. I'm going to bring that gun back to that workspace right in front of me. As I do that, I let go so I can grab my first magazine out of here. Press my magazine release. Notice the configuration of how I'm holding my magazine. I'm going to use my finger to kind of run it right up into the gun, so without really looking at that, I can just guide it right inside here. This is another empty magazine. So what I'm going to do is kind of keep it out for a second, pull back on my slide and release it, or what I could do is press down on my slide release so I'm back on my target and ready to get back inside that gunfight. So that's option number one. Now, when there is no ammo inside your magazine, your slide should lock to the rear. But let's be honest, one of the biggest things that's probably going to happen where your gun malfunctions is a bad spring in a magazine. So what I like to do is write on the bottom of my magazine an H for the first letter of my last name and which magazine this is. So if magazine H2 continuously have issues and I'm at the gun range and after that last round my slide's not being locked to the rear like it's supposed to, well, I can just get rid of magazine H2. I know this is the one that's giving me problems at the gun range, so that's why you might see some different text down there. So what I'm going to do is put this magazine back inside my holster, maybe. There we go. So let's run from the next one. This is what we would call a tactical reload. Let's say I just cleared out a room in my house or something like that, a business. I just cleared an area. Now what I'm going to do is take an area of cover, so if someone was to shoot at me, I have a hard structure around me or whatever, so I'm kind of taking myself out of the gunfight in a tactical sense. So now, with a round still inside my gun, but maybe only 5 rounds inside my magazine instead of 10, what I'm going to do is release my magazine. I'm going to grab my other magazine off my magazine holster, put a full loaded magazine inside my firearm, and just recover that magazine that had 5 rounds or 3 rounds, whatever was left in it. I don't want that laying on the ground. I might need that ammo. So right now, before I continue clearing that room and going on with that sweep, I now have a fully loaded firearm. So as I begin going through there, if I need to engage again, at least I had a full magazine with me instead of running into that slide lock, being out of ammo and trying to do that other one quickly. Can you do it fast? Yes, absolutely, you could, as long as you practice that. Now, one of the problems when people go to just drop this is you'll notice it falls basically in front of me. So if you were at a store, we'll say Walmart, where they have a tile floor and your magazine's in front of you, you may end up slipping on that magazine. So I'm just going to throw a different one in. This time, when I press my magazine release, watch how I flick my wrist, and my magazine's going to end up completely away from me. The reason, you could even hear it bouncing around. The reason I would do something like that is so I don't accidentally step on that magazine and end up on the ground next to it. So that's one trick that I like to do, is just flip it out of my firearm. But if it ended up getting caught on your jacket or something, getting used to that little motion right there would also ensure that it never gets snagged up on your clothing, and you could free your garments in case your cuffs aren't tight or something on your garment. So thanks for watching. I hope those tips really help you out there at the range, and it gives you something to practice. Thanks again, guys.